Let me show you how to build a website that adapts to the user needs. A website that analyzes user intent and builds a page crafted for each specific user. This is the ultimate UX approach. Rather than designing so many pages to cater for every type of user, you're building one page that rewrites itself based on user intent. My name is Jad. I'm a long-time UI UX designer and I use AI tools all day, every day to bring you workflows that actually work. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter to get the full guides for free. Alright, so the goal is to build a website that adapts to the user needs. In my example, I'm adding this functionality to my website that I'm already working on, where people can find AI tools for UI UX. And to do that, we need two main modules. One to figure out the user intent, and another to build the custom UI. This is where the AI will be implemented. But it's not all AI. We're gonna connect these AI modules to our own dataset. That way we control the exact parameters that the AI will work with. So the equation will look like this. A dataset plus user intent will result in a custom UI. That means AI will take into consideration my data and the user's data. My dataset can be a database or a CMS collection or any static data that you have on your website or in your product. And to capture the user's intent, you need to use one of these methods. The first one is user input, and this is the most reliable because the user is telling you explicitly what they need. Another way is to leverage the user behavior to capture the user intent. That could be anything that the user is doing on the website, like clicking or scrolling or searching for terms. Then another option is environmental data. That means date, time, location, or device, or even a referral link that led this person to your website. And finally, you can use historical data. That's when you have user accounts in your product to show them content that is crafted specifically for each user. And finally, we have to define the custom UI, what it looks like, and what contents to include inside of it. That means the limitation of what the AI can work with. I don't want the AI to generate random elements and random pages. I want it to use my data and the layout in which I need to present the solution. In my example, I'm going to be working on my CMS collection, which is all of the data that exists for each tool that I have on my website. And for user intent, I'm going to go with capturing the role and the intent explicitly. I'm going to ask the user who they are and what they need. That eliminates the guesswork and you get an accurate result every time. And finally, I want this custom UI to be in the form of a workflow with AI tools. That means multiple steps, and each step has multiple tools that are suggested. Once you define all of these elements, it will become easier to structure this website. So I made a chart to visually see the whole structure. Always make sure you start with a blueprint to keep your building process under control. So in my landing page, I only need one input field to capture the user role. But I will also provide a view all option. But my primary path here is for the person to select a role, and I want to have a few preset selections, or they can type anything in the role field. And then I need the AI to analyze the role and come up with custom intent options. And I'm doing this so that the user will have options to select from, and if none of them apply, they can type what they need. But to have the least friction here, which is my primary path, I want the user to select a role and then select an intent, and that's it. The AI will analyze the intent and will analyze my data set. Then it will generate a UI for this user. And that's the path of least friction. I don't want to ask for any other info, nothing personal, no email, nothing. And here I defined what the custom UI will look like. I want the UI to be in the form of a workflow consisting of 2 to 4 steps with tools suggested for each step. And as you can see here, we're going to be using AI in two places, but we do not require a powerful AI model here. We can use the cheapest model because we only need it to analyze our own content and generate a UI based on specific framework. So we don't need the thinking models and the pro models. So when you use the cheap AI models, this will barely cost you anything per user. It will be around $0.0015 per user. That means it will take 650 users to reach $1. And that's not bad. I think that's a reasonable cost for a huge upgrade in user experience. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to prepare the data set that we have. We need to make sure that it includes all the relevant information for the AI to build a custom UI. In my example, I'm gonna make sure that my CMS collection contains info like who each tool is for and what it's used for. That way the AI will have context of each tool so that it can build a workflow and a UI using this data that I have. So no matter where you're getting your data from, you need to have it in a JSON file, or you can have it connected directly to your database. Since I'm working on a draft here, I don't have too many tools yet. So I'm gonna test this feature by exporting my CMS collection as a CSV. Then I'll convert it into a JSON file with Claude. Here's my CMS collection in Framer. I'm gonna go to CMS export and I'll just hit export and it will give me a CSV file. Okay, now here's my CSV file. It includes all the information that I need, and that will be my source of truth. I'm just gonna give it to Claude and tell it to convert it into a JSON file. But you can do this with any converter online for free. Just Google CSV to JSON converter. Alright, here's the result. Make sure you verify the contents of this file, just to make sure that Claude didn't hallucinate any extra data in there. Alright, now we have all the requirements we need to start building. I'm gonna build this with Google AI Studio because it's the best way to implement AI in your product by using the Gemini models from your account. And here I'm gonna give it all my requirements that I have. I'll give it a screenshot of the plan of the structure that I made, and I'll give it a screenshot of my existing website for styling references, and I'll write a detailed prompt that includes the content of the JSON file, because I cannot attach a JSON file directly here. I'll just copy and paste the content. And here's my prompt. Feel free to pause to see the details that I entered here. This prompt has the full requirements now. Alright, here's the result. I'm gonna test it out. I have a drop down here with the presets that I have or other. I'm gonna select designer, and here it's generating the suggestions, and it's gonna do that quickly because it's using the Flash AI model. Now I can select one of the intents that it generated based on the role. Now if I change to a developer, for example, there we go. Now it's giving me intents specific for developers. Let's see if I enter other here and I say real estate agent, for example. And now here I have intents specific for real estate agents. I'll select one and then I'll click on generate custom page. That took about 3 seconds. That was super fast, and it's so fast because we're using the Flash model. I didn't mention that in the initial prompt, but make sure you mention what model you want to use. And to make sure that you are using the correct AI model, go to the code tab at the top, and here you can find the Gemini file where you can see what model it's using. So here I can see it's using Gemini 3 Flash Preview. So now it gave me a workflow here with a few steps. I have step 1, step 2, and step 3, and it matched the UI of my website. Now I'm gonna go to my website and give it the exact components that I used in my website so that it matches one-to-one. But I'm not very happy with the initial UI. I want it to be more user-friendly, more straightforward. I'm gonna refresh the page here. Yeah, I don't like this UI. I'm gonna ask for a modification here. I said I want this UI to look like a phrase where it says, I am a, and then the user selects a role, and then looking to, and then the user selects intent, and then we'll submit the prompt. I don't want the user to think that we're collecting info here. I just want it to be straightforward. Here we go. This is exactly what I was looking for. I need a loader to show that it's loading intents, because if you click on it right away, you won't see them until it loads them a few seconds later. But just as a UX rule here, you have to show the user that something is loading. And there we go. Let me reset this. Let's see, other. Okay, so I see a few issues here. Let's fix them with a prompt. Alright, I did a few adjustments to the UI, to how the workflow is displayed, to make sure that everything is clean and visible. Here it is. Let me try to type something here. And there it's loading. And there we go. And here's the custom workflow page. It's showing me the parameters that we're working with here. And each step has some tools inside of it here. And that looks great. Now here's a few things you should worry about before you publish this, because with your AI exposed like this, you have bad actors that will drain your account. So make sure you limit the amount of requests that are allowed per user, because bots can drain your AI usage. And we also need to add a character limit to the fields where someone is typing in manual text. We don't want them to enter a full essay in there, and that will drain your AI tokens as well. So make sure you implement some security measures here. And all you have to do is ask Gemini to do that. I said add some security measures, limit the amount of requests per user, and add a character limit to the input fields. And here we go, it added a character limit for the manual text, and it added a rate limiting that limits users to 5 requests per minute, which is fair, I think. 5 per minute is more than enough. And if you want to refine the results that are coming out, make sure you modify the JSON file that we have. Your dataset is dictating everything that's happening here. So the cleaner it is, the more accurate the results are going to be. Now you know how to approach a project like this. Make sure you don't skip the planning phase, because it sets everything up for a successful adaptive UI. And if you have any questions, ask me anything down in the comments. It really helps me to understand what you guys need, and I'm always happy to help. Thank you for sticking around. Let's get back to work, and I'll see you in the next one.